Hey there, Zesty Boys, and welcome back to the Zesty Podcast. My name, of course, is Tony Shire.
I'm Joey Becknell.
And I'm Mitchell Stonehands Gunn.
And we are, of course, brought to you by Sonntagsleere 342, Life, the Universe, and Everything. A fantastic mixtape with all sorts of delicious tunes for your ears. Imagine eating candy, but putting that in your earbuds. Mitchell, every time I try to I try to get you to loosen up. You get mad sometimes, but
I'm usually angry.
He's usually angry, but as soon as I turn on those sweet tunes from Sonntagsleere 342, Life, the Universe, and Everything, he calms right down.
I usually just get a nice lull to sleep. It's a calming tune, maybe.
It gets lulled right to sleep, and then we can enjoy our delicious Applebee's dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have to think about anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we can offer you, and what Sonntagsleere 342, Life, the Universe, and Everything can offer you. If you just go over there to Mixcloud.com or to Spotify and find this beautiful little playlist, you can have one of the nicest evenings, mornings, or afternoons of your life. So go over there and give them a listen. They would appreciate it as much as I would. So thank you so much for your support. And we're also brought to you, this isn't really we're brought to you, but the best way you can help this channel grow, post the videos that you like from this channel to Reddit, and we will support you. We will upvote everything we see. Reddit is such a big thing. If we could get all you guys who like this to post, that would be fantastic, and we would enjoy the support. But you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but we would enjoy the support. That's all I'm going to say. How are you boys doing?
Doing well.
Doing pretty good. Doing as well as it could be,
As well as you could be.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Well, just the situation in the world, COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
Our intern Tommy just walked in. My world just got a little bit better.
No, the intern and Tommy walked out.
The intern and Tommy both just walked in.
Attached at the hip, as they usually are.
Yeah, I don't like how close they're getting with each other.
But yeah, just COVID-19, all the unrest we have going on, for good reason. Nice pop open.
It's probably a good idea. Not a good idea, but I just would like to say that we here at ZestyBoyz support all of the movements that are going on right now. We support Black Lives Matter, and
Absolutely.
we want to help, but we don't want to be the guys who are just doing it for no reason. We've donated, we have shared, and we're in this together. I'm going to say that, but we're not going to dwell on that too long because we don't want to be the guys who are just doing it for a PR stunt. So
Yeah.
United we stand.
United we stand, man.
Divided we fall.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Promote love,
I think it's a good
baby.
time just like to outwardly say we completely are against anything that's racism, and we will call it out wherever we see it.
And any instance of police brutality against
God.
anyone of
Yep.
any kind is just disgusting, and they should not be able to abuse their authority in that way. And I just don't condone it.
We certainly need. I've been feeling this I feel like everyone's been feeling this for a long time. Police reform is something that needs to happen.
I hate that. That feels like a dream to me. I don't think that could happen.
You were gonna be a
breaks my
police
heart.
officer 8 months ago, and
Yeah.
that's just crazy.
I'm so thankful that I didn't go through with that.
Mhm.
So incredibly thankful.
I've never seen that windbreaker before, Mitchell.
Are we transitioning?
That's a segue if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is from a thrift store.
Really? Which one?
Park Avenue Thrift in Old Kennesaw.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
See, that's like, I have something that looks very similar to that, but I guarantee it's way warmer, and so I can't wear it in most scenarios.
Oh, I am very warm right now.
Really? Is that a
personally.
pretty warm one?
I wouldn't say it's warm. It's just this area.
Yeah, this area is pretty warm.
And I was hitting some golf balls before this.
Ooh, getting
So I was
hitting
sweating.
the range.
Goodness
Yeah.
gracious.
So now I was sweating before I got here, and I'm sweating now.
Sweating
Nice.
now. Mitchell, I have one question for you. It's a yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
You have, as soon as I answer, you need to say yes or no. It's like, okay, so here's a practice. This isn't the question.
Okay.
Racism.
No.
Okay. Similar
Nice. Good
similar
one.
thing. Ready? Thugonomics.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Correct answer.
What is that? Is that a thing?
Oh yeah.
The doctor of thugonomics.
Who's thugonomics? What is thugonomics?
The study of Thugonomics.
John Cena.
John Cena.
Is that a John Cena
That was
thing?
his
'Cause
like
that's what I'm looking
his
for.
character back in like 2002. He was a rapper, and his like his song was dope as fuck. He'd come out and be like, "So you think you're untouchable?" And it's like, "Word life. This is basic thugonomics. This is basic thugonomics." And he would put his hands together, and it said thugonomics. It said word life or something like
Nice.
that.
It looks like if I was going to do a bout of wrestling, if me and the boys were going to wrestle, I would not wear jean shorts. That seems to be one of the most
Think of the swamp ass.
uncomfortable like methods of conducting wrestling
Oh, yeah.
that
Oh,
has
yeah,
been
yeah.
conceived.
Think of the man. I mean, they had to have been like jegging material. Like they could have.
I don't know, and they were knee long,
yeah.
knee long jean shorts.
Disgusting, dude.
Oh, yeah, he had to be real uncomfortable down there, I would
Yeah.
assume. But he's also massive, so
I mean, he can do what he wants. He stuck with it. Like it was like, and he turned like kind of khaki cargo short looking things at one point. And
Nice.
that's like the lead singer of Five Finger Death Punch always wears like below the knee camo cargo shorts.
I can't wear anything below the knee
and a
anymore.
jersey. That's his thing.
Yeah, it used to be like the thing to wear shorts way below.
Oh,
your
yeah,
knees.
like
No,
in
I
middle
used to wear cargo shorts probably until like I wore cargo shorts until sophomore junior year of high school, and that was my thing. And I never understood why people were, because that was when chubbies kind of became a thing, and then the only people who really wore chubbies were kind of douches.
Yeah.
But now I only wear. Were you wearing chubbies back then, Joseph? But now I only wear like short shorts just because
Yeah.
I like having my thighs free.
Yeah,
you know?
same here.
It always
Same here.
seems like things become like radical in terms of like changes through like life. Like in 2000s, it was like knee-length shorts or lower, and then we just changed like the fucking shortest of shorts for men. Not shortest of shorts.
See now,
but,
like I wear 5-inch inseam shorts. If I wear a
Nice.
6-inch inseam where it's like there's 4 inches between my knee and my shorts, that feels way too long for me. Like I hem
Yeah.
those and like cut them down to be shorter.
Yeah.
But like even through college, I wore these golf shorts that were like maybe an inch or two above the knee, and they weren't cargo shorts. They were just like clean like khaki shorts. And so I transitioned into those, and then from that transitioned into short shorts.
Yeah.
And I do not feel comfortable in long shorts anymore.
I need to shorten the length of my khaki shorts.
Yeah, I bet you got fire quads. I just haven't seen them because you're always wearing such long shorts,
My
Mitchell.
quads are not the most beautiful part of my body.
I've always wanted quad separation.
Yeah.
That looks just dope.
yeah.
I've come to accept I'll never achieve it.
See, but you have like the good like chubby-ish quads
Yeah.
look good in short shorts. They look way better than like bone-thin quads like I have.
Right,
Like skinny
right.
legs look way worse than chubby legs. That's like if
Okay,
you look on
okay.
chubbies, like half of them are like athletes who have just who are absolutely ripped, and then half of them are like, oh, we're the fun guys. Look at us, like we
we've
drink
got
beers.
beer bellies and chubby legs.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I'm proud
That's why
that
they're
I'm
called
chubby, I
chubbies.
guess.
Yeah.
I think you got power in those legs. I've seen them.
Lordy.
I know
At
you
the
have
jam,
power
at the
in them.
jam, bro. I've seen you. You can squat a little bit.
I'm
can
telling
squat.
you, dude. Definitely, I hit my highest weight on the squat rack.
What's your highest weight?
I don't know. Honestly,
you
like
do.
I can squat close to 300,
Wow.
Usually.
I usually do
and I've been going a little bit more lately. So
let's see,
Oh,
what
boy.
do I usually do? I usually do like 150, 160 if I,
I mean,
squat
for your body weight, imagine
Yeah.
like how much do you weigh? Like 150,
140.
140. Then you're doing already more than your body weight. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really care about numbers
Yeah.
that much. I just try to like with squatting. I figured if I do above my body weight, it's probably
Yeah.
fine.
Like I'll go 205 and just do that 5 sets, but 5 times, and just get real solid reps out of them. That's what you want more. So you want that nice repetition.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
you
I've
know?
been thinking about dropping down to like 190, 200,
And
and
just
just
build
doing
that
a lot of
strength.
reps.
Build.
I haven't been to a
that
gym in
strength.
months. I've been doing body weight fitness since. I've probably been doing body weight fitness for like 4 months now. Like
Lordy.
late January, I started
carbonation, man.
doing it.
Are you like done?
Or no, late February I started doing it. In March,
Yeah.
April, May. So yeah, 3 months ish. I've been doing it, 3 or 4, and I like body weight fitness. It's nice to get to stay home because I was just like it was when I started working, and I was like, oh my god, I'm exhausted from work.
Yeah.
I do not want to go to the gym right now because
Yeah.
the gym used to be nice because like I'm not doing anything ever,
Yeah.
and so going to the
Yeah.
gym was like it's.
Yeah.
I did something today, but I would just feel absolute leg days for some reason. made me feel sick.
It's-
Like
yeah,
I would get because it's just so much
A lot of
force.
effort.
Yeah, a lot of stuff
Yeah.
you're exerting.
Oh,
like,
like ill?
yeah,
Like,
it's like 80% of your body or some shit is
Not
being
rad.
I
Yeah,
feel
that's what I
sick.
thought.
fucking sick, dude.
well,
Nah,
because I feel sick after
Like
I feel
badass.
sick after a leg
I
day.
do.
See,
If it's a
after-
good one.
After like front squats, I felt sick, but after like the entire leg day, I wanted to like throw up and pass out and
Yeah.
shit, just because I was so tired.
That's a
I
good
think.
day.
I
That's a
mean,
good day, is what that is.
It's probably good for the body, like feeling like that, like completely exhausted.
I
but-
found whenever I feel sick like that, not like that, the
Mm.
other way, it's usually because I didn't eat that good that day.
I mean, I never eat good, so
Yeah.
that's my thing.
Yeah.
It's like that just.
It's kind of my thing.
Kind
And
of
then
thing.
it's like imagining a gas tank. You just throw a Big Mac in there. Your car's gonna be feeling kind of sick after it
Your
uses
car's
up.
fucked. No Big Mac.
Dude, when I went to Africa, I went there and one of the guys on my team was like very like an Ironman long distance runner.
Mhm.
He ran like an 80-mile race and whatever.
Yeah, an ultra marathon.
He's like crazy, just crazy. And I asked him like what he was eating during that, and he said like Big Macs and stuff.
It's just all carbs when you're
Yeah.
doing that. Like bean burritos, or like if you watch the 100-mile races and shit like that, guys will go to the base camp and then just eat a bunch of bean burritos
Yeah.
and shit.
And he told me this.
Intern,
and
can you hand me the water? I'm very thirsty.
Nice, good call. Good use of the intern.
Just crawl, army crawl.
Yeah,
you
you
little
better not be
weirdo.
on fucking camera.
Oh,
Oh my God.
That sounds sad.
horrible.
I'm so sorry.
I apologize to all of our viewers.
You little freak.
You little bitch.
Army crawl over here. He just got
Yeah.
back from a day of jerking wasps off for work at the University of Georgia.
You love it though. You love it.
He loves it. Like he gets fully torqued doing it. It's not against the rules, but it's frowned upon. But they can't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to
now.
half-mast.
Is that the intern or Tommy speaking?
And can you not
What's
tell
the
anymore?
intern's name?
Why would we know that? He's just an intern.
He's just the intern.
He's temporary. That's the intern.
He is less than.
Never trust an intern. That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
They'll hurt you when you need it.
Because they're gunning
the
for your
least.
spot.
They are.
They're gunning.
He's
for
trying to
it.
be the CEO of ZestyBoyz right
Yeah.
now.
Did we
He's
ever
gonna take your spot.
Did we
he
ever
probably
look
will.
up what's in between Flowery Branch and Alpharetta?
I wasn't here for this
It's
conversation.
I don't know. We didn't.
Flowery Branch is like that's kind of like the other side of the lake.
it's
Probably
like east.
Buford, I would say, is definitely between there.
Interesting.
That's my answer.
That's because I was just interviewing for a job. Then it turns out I feel like I have a good chance of getting it, and the headquarters is in Flowery Branch, and we're talking about living together, and we're just seeing what's in between.
I mean, I work in Buford every day, and like I
Really?
drive from here. It's like 45 minutes. It's not bad. Like it's not.
Yeah,
it's not bad traffic going that way because you're like staying away from major highways.
true. Yeah,
You just drive across.
Swanee.
Swanee's in between.
Y'all want to move in together?
In Swanee? No.
All three of us
I do
get an
not want to
apartment
move
in
to
Swanee.
Swanee.
I mean, from the Halcyon to where their headquarters is 41 minutes
The
with
house
no
that's
traffic.
exit 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you want to live in the Halcyon? I mean, the Halcyon is probably the coolest place in Cumming to live. I would
Yeah.
say if you wanted to live in Cumming. That
It's
sounds
because I don't know
miserable.
where else I could.
I want to live ITP. That's where I'm gonna live.
Yeah, in the Flowery Branch, the Flowery Branch
What's
isn't Flowery
ITP?
Branch inside the perimeter.
Okay, I thought that's what it meant, but I
Highlands,
wasn't sure.
is any neighborhood
I would
inside of the
love
line.
I
to
just
live
don't
in
want to pay the money to live ITP.
Yeah, understandable.
Halcyon's like $1,200 for
A person?
a 3-person.
Like each person pays $1,200?
No, like
Total.
Total.
So 3 person, each person paying $400.
That is.
Yes.
Are you sure? That is
That-
unbelievable.
That's how because
no. I looked at
There are
it and I
places-
was like, shit.
there are
Mitchell and I
places in
could-
Dawsonville where each person pays over $1,000. Like
That's
Yeah.
stupid.
are you sure that's
stupid.
not per person? Because I like the Halcyon, I would think would be
Yeah, it
expensive.
sounds like per person.
We're talking about local. If you're local to Cumming, you're gonna love this conversation. If not,
Oh,
you're
shit.
not. But
Hold
you
on,
know,
let me get off of this website for foot fungus.
get off of the porn website.
So far away, Flowery
And
Branch.
It's just called feetgirls.com. Why were you there, Joey? You're in a relationship. Oh,
Flowery Branch. No matter where you're at, it's 40 minutes away. You know, no matter where you are, Atlanta, 40 minutes away.
but the Falcons practice there.
I know. Isn't that weird?
That's why it's so rich over there. Like the high
Yeah.
schoolers are either completely poor or like
Yeah.
kids of NFL players.
Buford is right next to
Swanee.
Alright.
yeah,
Luxury
Oakwood.
apartments.
Isn't that where
That's like
Gleb?
No, he lives in Brookhaven. Oakwood's like Gainesville. That's where the North Georgia
Gainesville's
University
pretty
up
close.
there is. And
Yeah,
Gainesville's
Gleb doesn't
miserable.
return my calls, dude. I don't fuck.
Gleb.
What are you trying to call him? You trying to get tree
Are
service?
you trying to get tree service?
I just wanna.
That's a lie.
Talk to Gleb.
I talked to
dude.
him the other day about the South Sudan. You know this about people from South Sudan? How unbelievably tall they are. That one tribe in South Sudan that like
Yes.
the
I know
tallest
what you're
people in the
talking
world
about.
are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know you've heard of Manute Ball, right? Manute
Yeah.
Ball. He's from South Sudan, and like literally this tribe, everyone is like over 6'5", all super slender,
Mhm.
super long limbs, and they have like a basketball league over there. Their rim is 12 feet.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be fucking awful for us.
It's pretty cool that like they have so many, like there's 2 NBA players now, or there's Thon Maker who's in the NBA now. He's like 7 feet tall, but he runs around like he's a fucking like shooting guard, which is
Really?
like the smaller people. Yeah,
Is that the who's the big Asian guy who's the like been like he wants to be like he's been doing a lot of like handling training. I watched a bunch of videos on him. I can't remember his name.
there's a couple people that are like,
But like I remember the whole thing was he's like people this tall,
Yeah.
they're just known for dunking like
Yeah.
and he's like doing like all these like crazy drills and shit like
you're
that.
starting to see a lot more of those types. Manute Ball's son, Bol, weird name, I know.
Bold Ball
Bol, like BOL, Bol.
is his name. Manute Bol.
That was
Manute
his
Bol?
father's name, and now his son's name is just Bol.
Bol. Son of Manute.
Bol.
He's on the Denver Nuggets.
Mm.
And he's like 7'2", runs around like he's a point guard. But the main problem with all of them is their knees are just
Yeah.
not, they can't support the weight, and
Yeah.
so, or ankles or something like that.
Yeah, that has to be like a human thing. Like regardless of what you do, like
Yeah.
that much strain. That was like the tallest man in the world had to like have like all these canes all the time. So it's
Yeah.
just so much weight.
I can only imagine how painful their growing pains are.
That was like the Godzilla fallacy. Like if Godzilla was the size it was, it would not be able to sustain life with like how big it was. And if you like smashed it on the toe, it would take like something like a bunch of seconds, like 10 seconds to get to the brain to like register that it was actually like hit and shit like that. 'Cause it's just so big. Like that's how, like with how fast nerves work. It's kind of interesting.
It's like how, have you ever seen that like if you put a blue whale on land, it'll just like collapse in on
Really?
itself? Like its bone structure and everything is like completely just.
It took them over 3,000 tests to like confirm that. Just out in the desert, they just kept bringing blue whales up and just
Yeah.
collapsing them.
I mean, like when I read that, I was just like, oh yeah, no shit, they're built for the water. But like they said, like yeah, if you put a blue whale on land, like their whole entire skeletal system is gonna just like collapse on itself.
That's like anacondas usually swimming, like go into the water to support their body weight, so they can like they move mostly in the water.
Yeah,
Just when you're that big, your bones will collapse on themselves and shit.
yeah, it's crazy.
It's whack.
It's a miracle it hasn't happened to me yet.
Oh hush, Joey, you're looking good these days.
Thank you,
Looking thin.
thank you.
Just gotta keep
You-
up what
you
you're
look
doing,
healthy.
man. See,
Thank
that's
y'all.
what I said
really
earlier.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
The doctor said today, he said, you look pretty healthy. And I'm like,
He said that to you,
yeah. He's,
Doc. You need to get your license revoked.
yeah. Big news on the health front for me, everybody. Got a rubber band around a hemorrhoid today. And it felt all right.
Did it feel?
Kinda pleasurable?
How did it feel when they put it around?
It was not pleasurable in the slightest. I didn't. It was weird. Like it's weird that he was able to do it. I was like, how'd you get a rubber band in there that quick?
I got good fingers.
And that accurate. Like he was like, all right, put the rubber band around. All right, you're good to go.
the
Literally walked out.
trick is I stimulate your prostate at the same time, so the orgasm you achieve doesn't make you notice
Yeah.
the rubber
Yeah,
band
have you
going
ever
around your
accidentally
hemorrhoid.
orgasms when he was like in your beehole?
Hey, it's
No,
not
I
your
don't think
fault.
so.
God put your G spot in your butthole.
Is that true? Like with guys,
The prostate. I mean, it is the pleasure center of the male.
what the hell even is a prostate? I don't even know
Is
what
it?
it is.
Next time you masturbate, stick that finger up there.
Is it the
No, I
pleasure
don't think I
center
will.
of
I
the
don't
pleasure
think
center of the male? Not the.
I just
not
like
the
making
penis.
I like making bold claims.
I've heard that though. I've heard that
The
like
prostate is connected to your peen though somehow.
your peen,
your little wiener,
your Dugan.
your Dugan.
Dugan.
Like here, it's like a walnut-sized thing in between like your balls and your beehole. Push on it, and tell me
What are you
can't.
doing down there?
I'm stimulating
do
the
you,
prostate.
Do you like wank with like a finger up your ass every time?
I mean, fingers don't do it for daddy anymore.
Oh my god.
I usually use a bowling pin
Oh my god.
because that little neck on the top gives you a good handle.
Oh.
Wait, which side
I
are
use
you
the
using?
other side
Oh,
than you're thinking. No.
oh
That's
my
horrifying.
God.
No, I do not. I need to stop wanking. I went for a long time. I went for like over 100 days without doing it, or not without like watching like porn and stuff, and then relapsed and then fell back into the trap. And I've been trying to get out, but it's hard crawling out. The hardest thing, the first week, in my experience, is the hardest because it's just hard.
Yeah.
But I'd like to get out of it.
Shit really is hard.
Shit is hard, man.
Yeah, you know, I've been chugging along for what seems to be about 12 years now.
Mm-hmm. How old are you? 23.
Yeah,
And
You haven't jacked off in 12 years?
No, he's
the
been
opposite.
every day for 12. If you think about it, like the longest I've gone since I was probably in sixth grade was 100 days. Like, what do you think the longest you've gone without masturbating since you started is?
Maybe like 6 days.
6 days. Like, this is like a problem.
No, I
for,
broke my hand one time.
Were you that Reddit guy?
I broke both my arms, and I can tell you that you can still find life finds a way.
You're
I mean,
Everyone who's watching this, I'm sure, is a guy, but if not, it's completely natural to just profusely.
it's medically like recommended.
I mean, it is medically recommended to clean the pipes out, so to say. At least like people who masturbate 21 times a month are like 30% less likely to get prostate cancer.
Yep.
I can double that.
God doesn't like it though.
Shut up, intern. God's not real, right, Joey?
Shut up.
God doesn't like masturbating though. Do not let your seed touch the ground.
But God does like abortion, according to the Bible.
Yeah, the only time abortion is mentioned is how to perform one.
I don't-
What are your thoughts, Joey?
I don't like getting into religious discussions on this platform. I just want to say that.
You can't win, buddy.
We just
Because I can't. Yeah, I'll get freaking roasted in the comment section for being a Christian.
Well, see,
and
if you can't
we're
win,
done.
then why are you fighting for the losing team, Joey?
because it's
Yeah,
the
but-
winning. Oh God, I'm gonna get roasted for that.
We'll change subjects.
It's all
We'll
about love
change-
here on the podcast.
It's all about love.
I love each
God
and
bless.
each and every one of you watching right now. I love you.
Mm-hmm.
I love.
How does the
all-
Bible feel about man love?
Not
It does not like it.
not a fan. Not the biggest fan.
Not the biggest
You
fan.
know,
That being said, though, a dude named Jesus came along and he said, "Love everyone."
Exactly.
and,
That's why I don't
It
understand.
doesn't matter how.
I don't
you show
understand how
love.
Christians can hate people when the Bible, like they pick and a lot. Not every Christian, but a lot of Christians pick and choose what they want to read from the Bible, because if you're a Christian, you don't hate anybody. You love everybody, regardless of whether you think they're going to heaven or not. You love them because, from what Jesus, the hippie guy, was saying, that's what you got to do.
that's what
Dude, I follow the hippie guy 100%.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
He just says love everyone, and I'm gonna do that.
I feel like you're allowed to disagree with someone's lifestyle, but not force your lifestyle
Yeah.
upon them. Like, you could not agree with like homosexuality, but you don't go out there and try to stop other people from doing it. Like
Exactly.
they live their own lives.
I read it in a book I like. That's what is it?
and I
Patton
think it's completely
Oswalt, he said
Christian to
that.
not try to force it, even though like
Well, yeah. If you're a Christian and you're only going off of the
Yeah.
Old Testament right now, I
Listen,
got news
I was
for you.
about
You're not
to
a
ask-
Christian.
okay.
You got to look at the New Testament.
Okay,
too.
I was about to bring this up, and like the only ever serious religious question I've ever had for you on this podcast, Joey.
Hit me.
Why is the Old Testament not valid anymore?
It's not valid.
Okay.
You can't achieve progress without seeing where you were before.
But why is it okay? So if I say to a Christian person, well, in the Old Testament it says like blank evil thing. They're like, oh, well, that's the Old Testament. We don't believe that anymore. How
Okay,
is
okay.
that
I
a
see where you're
valid
coming from.
argument?
Because Jesus came and he wiped your sins clean.
Okay.
So if you're gay
Mm-hmm.
and whatever,
Yeah.
Jesus came along and died for your sins.
Okay.
So you're clean. You're completely clean.
But how? So theoretically, God is always right, correct?
Yes.
How would he need to be corrected from the Old Testament? If that was what God created, why does that need to be remade?
Because in the Old Testament, they were bastardizing the teachings of God.
Okay.
And basically, in the Old Testament, they were taking, what God was teaching them kind of out of context. And they were...
What humans do.
Yeah.
Yes, and they were killing each other in the name of God. Then he sent Jesus along, and Jesus basically said, hey, stop killing each other. And he came along with all of his parables and all of his teachings.
Okay.
He said things along the lines of, it's not about what goes in your mouth, but rather what comes out of it. And this is in direct contradiction to like...
All
Okay,
right.
sure. This is in direct contradiction
That is,
to
yeah.
eating pork,
Yeah.
which was frowned upon at that time. And Jesus basically said, eat pork. Like, I don't care if you eat pork.
So from your perspective, like just asking you specifically, not all of Christianity, but you being the one who represents Christianity in this 100 people who will watch this,
Okay.
the Old Testament is nullified. Nothing.
No, I don't think it's
Okay,
nullified.
why not?
Because I think there are some very valuable teachings in the Old Testament, but I also think that Jesus died to kind of...
So I'm not trying to like call you out, but
No, I'm loving this.
if I'm trying to call him out. So if like these things that they're taking out of context in the Old Testament that Jesus is like, oh no, that's not how it is. How come all of it isn't taken out of context? Why are there things that you can pick that weren't taken out of context?
Give me an example.
I don't
Can you
have-
give me an
Like, why are
example?
some things taken metaphorically instead of literally? Like,
Tommy, spit some things from the Bible. Some
Oh, sorry.
like Old Testament.
Old
things?
Testament stuff.
Oh, like
Bro,
Are we talking about like Sodom, like homosexuality?
yeah, we could Sodom and Gomorrah.
Okay.
I love gay people.
So basically, Jesus comes along and he says, basically his golden teaching is to love everyone.
Okay, to interrupt. Did Jesus say, or did Jesus imply, like, in the New Testament, is there things that back up parts of the Old Testament?
Yes.
So is that why there are some things from the Old Testament that still stand? Because Jesus was like, you guys got this stuff wrong, but those things you guys got right. Is that why, like, some things from the Old Testament are still, like, cool?
Yeah, I will point to your golden rule. Basically, Jesus came along and simplified the Old Testament.
Okay.
So there's teachings, and Jesus is God. Within Christianity, you have Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit. And all three of them, they're the Trinity, but they're all the same thing. Jesus comes along and gives us the golden rule, which is to love everybody.
Yeah.
Love all your neighbors how you would love yourself, basically. And so... essentially, if you don't want to be persecuted for your love or your beliefs or anything, don't persecute others.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the teaching that I go off of out of the Old Testament
Okay.
or out of the New Testament. Out of the Old Testament, I think there's very valuable teachings, such as in Genesis, it says that we are to be stewards of our planet. So that's God basically saying, like, hey, like, maintain the climate and maintain like this nation, this land, this planet that I'm giving you. That's I will point to anyone that comes at me about climate change. I will point straight to Genesis and say God calls us to be stewards.
You think God just has like some stock in Tesla or something?
Probably.
He's trying to up that.
He's all knowing. So.
Yeah.
He
So
knows those puts and the. I don't know what I'm saying. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But anyways, like, if anyone comes at me about climate change that's a Christian, I will point to Genesis, and I don't know the exact verse, but where God calls us to be stewards of our nation and of our planet. And I think that's a wonderful teaching of the Old Testament, to like take pride in your backyard and how you like put yourself forth in the world. Don't be wasteful and don't be, all of these things. Then there's, teachings in the Old Testament like don't eat pork. And it's like, no, Jesus comes along and he says it's not about what goes into your mouth, it's about what comes out of it.
Yeah.
So basically he's saying, look, I don't care if you eat pork, just be a good person.
See, I heard the pork thing actually is backed up because back a long time ago they didn't know that you had to cook pork to a certain temperature to get rid of like a certain disease, so people would die when they would eat raw pork.
Yeah.
And that's like the I guess that's the non-Christian reason why that would make sense that it's okay to eat pork now, because we realize that if we cook it, we don't die.
Yeah. And then there's stuff like I talk to a lot of people that are Christians that don't support drinking, and Jesus would
Turn
like,
water into wine.
Jesus was a
yeah, he would
partier.
turn water into wine, and I would call people, if you are, a lot of Christians like to say grace before a meal. I do that. I'll bless the food, bless the drink too.
How do you? What's your prayer? Well, I always remember when I was a kid, we'd always say, "God is great, God is good. Let us thank Him for our bread,
Food.
Food.
Let us thank Him for our
Yeah.
bread.
Remember your
By His
thing,
hands
intern.
we are
Yeah.
fed. Give us, Lord, our daily bread." That's what it is.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's a good one.
The fucking Bob kinda.
There's a handful. So like within Christianity, there's a handful of prayers like, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art
As I
thou
walk
among
through
women.
the shadow of the valley of death,
I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left.
Sure.
I know what you mean.
Wait,
now.
Joey.
I
what's up?
love that. that
Wasn't
prayer.
Jesus Jewish though?
Yes. So to
Plot twist?
He's like the big
The king of the
Yeah,
Jews.
king of the Jews.
yeah. So basically, Jesus. And you can't quote me on this because I'm not a Bible scholar, but I have taken
Quotation mark here. Continue.
But I have taken,
I'll close it out.
like New Testament classes in college because that kind of, I wanted to learn more about it. Jesus basically wanted to show Jewish people how, like you can be perfect, because a huge teaching within Judaism is, like you are completely binded to all of these laws that, like you have to be kosher and stuff of that nature. And Jesus showed how you can be perfect, and basically spoke with God's word that like all of these perfections, like you're going to fail. You're going to be imperfect, and I'm going to love you anyways, and I'm going to die for your sins.
Okay, I have one last religion question before,
Hit me.
and then we can move on.
No,
What about all the wacky stories in the Bible, like the bears killing the children, the spreading the Red Sea, parting the Red Sea, like all of the stuff that has
the miracles.
The quail.
the miracles, the burning bush that didn't burn. I don't know what the quail is.
This was kind of like a
The
miracle.
pillars of salt, and like all that stuff.
While they were wandering
The
the
walls of
desert,
Jericho.
they were asking God for food, and they kept complaining about not having any food. So God got mad and said, "I'm gonna drown you guys in quail." And so just quail started raining from the skies, and they had way
started
too much
railing
quail.
And then if they would have actually left Egypt with how many people they said, wouldn't they have not? The line of people who are walking would have still been in Egypt when they reached the place where they were lost and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how much.
Those are all Old Testament, correct?
Yeah.
How much of it's like? Because like the book, how old is the Bible? Since year before BC.
I mean, the Earth is
before,
2020 years old, so
like, do we feel how much of like the actual story rather than like what actually happened is like exaggeration or just lost in translation?
see, that's what I wanted to ask Joey.
That's a huge thing right now, right? So like Bible scholars, because at the end of the day, the Bible has been translated hundreds upon hundreds upon thousands of times, and a lot of its teachings are lost in translation. So a lot of Bible scholars, like try to get to the root of that, and a lot of Bible scholars will tell you like, look, like at the end of the day, we don't know. Like this was Hebrew at one time, and then it became Latin. Latin's a dead language now. So we don't know like what those Latin scholars were writing from the Hebrew scholars that has been lost in translation.
It's like a big game of telephone a little bit.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Well, they're surprisingly accurate with their translations over the years.
Yeah, they are.
Because they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. I have it pulled up here in like around the 50s, and they're dated from 408 BCE to 318 CE, and they're nearly identical to the Bibles we have today.
Yeah,
translation-wise.
but you say nearly. They're not perfect, and like a lot of this, like it could just be a simple article like "the," and like within the Bible, the word "the" is very
meaningful.
Yeah, meaningful.
And
you know,
Hebrew
like,
has a lot of words that the same word can mean multiple things in different
Exactly.
But-
Kind of like English.
so-
a little
Yeah,
bit.
they got to use context to try to figure out
in
what they
theory,
think is there.
if God wanted this text to be a thing, like if God wanted the Bible, wanted people to know the Bible,
okay.
why wouldn't he have made it so, like within the last however many years, so that it's a clear translation to every person? Why wouldn't he have made it so that its meaning means the exact same thing in every language? Why is it something that he's like, oh, well, these people will get it and then they'll interpret it right, maybe? Like, if he's all-knowing, he would, and all-powerful, he would, I would think, I don't want to speak for the big man, but be able to, if he wanted people to know these stories exactly how they were, he wouldn't make it 8,000 years ago and then have a game of telephone to where it is now. He would probably want it to be exactly how it happened, right?
Okay. There's actually a story in the Old Testament that
Okay.
kind of goes along with this. Have you heard of the Tower of Babel?
Yes, because everyone was getting along too well, and God didn't like that, and so he made
They were-
separate languages.
They were
Yeah,
building
sort
up
of.
to God, and God didn't want them to build up to him.
Exactly. So part of the, I don't know if you call it the beauty, but part of the beauty of Christianity is there's a lot of questions that I can't answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we as humans can answer, and it's all about, the big F word, faith.
That, one
Big
okay,
fuck.
but before you continue,
Big
one
fuck.
one problem I have with faith is, I guess, if I wanted people, if I knew I was the guy, again, I'm speaking for God, which is probably a bad thing, but
we're
if,
we're in a safe space right now. I like where our conversation is at.
if I was the guy and I created all these people, it's like I want to tell them, hey, I'm your guy. You know this because he's done that before. He said that to a few people, but why would he make it so vague and like hard to figure out? Like, I'm your guy, but I want you to believe it. So I'm going to tell him and you have to believe him. Like, why is it such a weird
Yeah.
runaround way to get to it?
Well, there's also like you have to think about like in the Old Testament, there's his chosen people who are the Israelites, right?
Yeah.
And you have to think like, I mean, he's punishing the Israelites, but also punishing like the folks that go against the Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of, what I was taught is to think about that how you would a mother. Like a mother is hardest on her own child.
Yeah.
But should you come between like her own children and whatever, like, I don't know, she's going to be harsh on you. So like Sodom, for example, God burns down Sodom because they're,
At least they're not Nineveh.
impure
Yikes.
and also against the Israelites. So like,
Nineveh? Uh-oh.
yeah. And then Jesus comes to bridge the gap.
I only know that
Jesus
from VeggieTales.
Jesus comes to basically say
Good
that we're
show.
all Israelites, that we are all chosen people,
The
and
meek.
like we're done. Like we are all God's chosen people.
Okay.
I guess the next
And-
logical question. Sorry, continue if you're done.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say something real stupid, so if you aren't done, keep going. I was gonna ask about what's the view on VeggieTales in religious lore.
I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of VeggieTales
I-
growing up,
I
but
have
I
a
grew
s-
up Catholic.
I have a similar question, but kind of more serious.
Hit me.
What about the people the priests, and how come Moses' family made so much money off of the Bible, essentially?
Moses' family?
Didn't Moses' family and like his like friends make a ton of money off the Bible?
There was one of the like different tribes
Mm-hmm.
that of Israel. There's 12 tribes, and one of them was like the priest family.
And you had to give all your food
And
to
there were
them. And
offerings, yeah.
you had
and
to give offerings to these specific people. Why?
They were supposed to burn everything, but we can't know if they actually burnt
Mm-hmm.
everything.
I'm trying to give you guys like informed answers, but
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, I
really
don't expect you to
like-
know that you're not. What's like apologetics? I think is what Carter called it once, because his
Yeah.
brother has a bunch of. Is that what it's called? Apologetics?
Yeah, that's like being, I mean, basically just good at arguing, like knowing
Yeah.
the Bible in and out and being able to like.
Yeah, I don't expect you to be like, again, like on the podcast you are the talking head for Christianity, but in the world, like, you are not.
Yeah.
Then again, I'm
It's
not.
an honor.
Exactly. So I don't know. I'm not sold yet, but you'll have more chances.
It's the Levites.
I'm not
the
trying.
Levite.
Why
I'm
do
not
you so-
trying
why
to
do you
sell
know
you.
so much about
I don't.
this?
I don't
That's
think you are. He's the intern. He's paid to.
I mean, I think that's
He
one of the
gets
most-
credit for.
That's one of the most obnoxious parts of like modern Christianity, everyone's trying to like sell you on religion. But at the end of the day, I have faith that like God and like Jesus is going to sell you themselves. I don't need to come on here and speak whatever that
I have no problem with any Christians except for the ones who are like Westboro Baptist or are like, you're not Christian? Oh. Like,
you're going to hell.
If you're a good Christian, you don't care if people are Christian, essentially. Like, you will, like, offer, like, hey, like, this is God. And they're like, no, thank you. It's like, okay, well, I love you still. Like, that's...
Well, exactly, yeah.
Good Christians will give you no reason to not like them.
If you're a good Christian, like, I do care that you're not Christian, but I also know that I am someone you can talk to if you ever want to talk about Christianity. And I think that's what being a good Christian is about. Like, being someone that's there for someone should they ever need it.
Not
I
judging
got a question
someone.
for you.
What's up, dude?
So it's generally accepted that non-Christians go to hell, right?
Generally.
Generally, yeah. Most Christians believe that, yes.
Okay. What if I was someone in, like, I'm just going to pick a random country, like Honduras. I'm in a kind of poor village, but no missionaries come, and I have no connection. No one talks to me about Christianity at all.
No one gives you a Bible. You don't even know who Jesus is. You die not knowing who Jesus is. So that's like a huge missions thing right now. And I've thought a lot about that. A lot. Like, I wake up early and I typically read my Bible, and I'm well studied, but like there's a lot of people that read their Bible more than me. But I've thought about that because that's like a point of I don't know, tension within my faith. Like, I worry about those people. And I truly believe that, like, I don't serve a God who would condemn those people, you know?
There was I saw a fun quip once.
That wasn't anything to do with you. Sorry.
It said it was tribesman and missionary. Missionary says, oh, this is God. Like, you need to accept him and stuff and you'll go to heaven. And then tribesman basically says, so if I had never met you and stuff, would I have gone, like, all this, like, basically what Tommy just asked. And the missionary was like, oh, no, you would have gone to heaven. And then the tribesman said, so why'd you tell me about all this?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're going to go to heaven without knowing what Christianity is, how come?
I don't know. That's one of the things I wrestle with. Like, honestly, you just hit on one of my, like, wrestling points. Like, what I think about.
He'll wrestle you right now.
Like, something that, like, keeps me up at night. If you've ever read Dante's Inferno, I'm sorry, Mitch.
I was about to bring up Dante's Inferno.
Go ahead.
Legitimately.
Go ahead.
I like books.
That wasn't not the book. The video game is what I was going to talk about. But,
the Divine Comedy. If you've ever read the Divine Comedy.
It's crazy how strict, like, cutthroat they were about things. Like in the Dante's Inferno, one of the enemies you fight is literally aborted babies. Like,
really?
Yeah,
Jesus.
And they go to hell because they never had the chance to, like, become Christian, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn. And like the further, that was
I
such
guess
an
that's what
interesting-
motivated missionaries, I guess, because it's like these people are going to go to hell if you don't tell them.
They're on the first circle, I want to say. So they're like, it's not like these are like 9 circles of hell or whatever. And like
they aren't extra giga devils.
Yeah.
No, the first
They
circle.
could be.
The first circle in the Divine Comedy is like the circle of which maybe like in the video game it was that, but the first circle in Dante's Divine Comedy is like the circle of I forget what it's called, but it's basically someone who died not knowing Jesus but lived out a life that like would be glorifying to God. So like the example they gave was like Gandhi, like a wonderful man died a Hindu. But like at the same time it's like it's Gandhi. Like you can't send him to hell because he's Gandhi and didn't know Jesus. So like guys like that would live there. Like
okay.
Are the different levels biblical?
No. That's not biblical. That's a video game and it's also
it's the Divine Comedy
well
thing.
no, it's not a video game. It's a video game that's based off of a like book which like was pop culture at the time of its writing.
How do you feel about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? Do you believe that's real, like tribulations and
I mean,
everything?
it's in Revelation.
Is that in the New Testament?
That's New Testament.
Oh.
Revelation, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Things go down in Revelation.
Yeah, my friend Carter, shout out Carter, he's a very Christian boy. The day of the eclipse when we were driving home, I was just asking because like I really like hearing, like I love talking about this kind of stuff, even though this isn't a thing I was like grew up with and everything. I like knowing about, because I'm not going to read the Bible. Okay. Foreseeable future, I'm not going to. I might later.
Yeah.
But I like knowing what people believe. I like talking to people of all different faiths and stuff like that. But it was really interesting hearing him talk about the basically the tribulations and everything like that, and how if you're a Christian, you're supposed to be happy when it happens. Like you're supposed to be happy to get killed by all these people and stuff because you're going to heaven. That's the the rapture and everything.
Yeah.
And he was saying a lot of Christians again putting words in his mouth, but this might have been two completely different conversations. But a lot of Christians are very anti-Muslim and a very anti-refugee, people who say they're Christians, even though they should be the people who welcome them in loving arms, because
absolutely.
You're not supposed to be scared of death. You're not supposed to be scared of possibly evil people. You're supposed to welcome everybody, and if the rapture happens, worst that's happening, if you're a good Christian, is going to heaven. So you should be happy that if you welcome someone loving arms and they stab you, you're going to heaven. It's a good thing, essentially.
No, yeah. I mean, that's a hard thing to wrestle with. Because I wrestle with it, right? For teaching number one as a Christian should be don't fear death.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you right now, if I get in a car accident on the way home after this podcast, I'm scared of that. I'm worried about that. And I mean, I guess that's something that comes with wisdom and growing up and kind of comfort. But also with the rapture and I don't know, maybe this puts your mind at ease or maybe it doesn't. But another huge part of the rapture that a lot of people forget about is it doesn't happen until everyone has heard Jesus's name. And there's a lot of people in the Middle East, Northern Africa, think of Sudan and stuff like that.
Second time Sudan's been mentioned on this podcast.
Sure.
Has it?
What up?
Those tall people from Sudan.
Really?
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But think about
heard Jesus.
that area, and that's where missionaries are going right now, and they're going there because people don't even know about Jesus. And Tommy mentioned Honduras.
So the goal is rapture, essentially.
Sure, yeah, that is the goal of Christianity. The goal of
We need
Christianity.
to talk to all of you so we can die.
Well, I mean, the goal of Christianity is to bring heaven to earth, and that doesn't happen until everyone has heard Jesus's name, and that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
It really hasn't. There's a lot of people in Asia, North Africa. I mean, even in America, there's probably people that literally have grown up and died not knowing Jesus or his teachings. So,
was there something in the Bible that said something about there was going to be war and stuff until the second coming of Christ, second coming of God?
Yeah, it's Revelation. Revelation's scary. That's the last book of the Bible. The last book of the New
Someone
Testament.
told me this once, and this was secondhand. So
Okay.
he said he was talking to his religious studies professor, and the reason that he believes that there's so much war and unrest in the Middle East is because this is again secondhand. This is something I'm parroting. He said, his professor said, in the Bible and in religious history, there was going to be war and hate and unrest and all this stuff until the second coming of Jesus, or second coming of God. And because the Islamic people don't believe that Jesus was the second coming, that's why all this stuff is still happening there, because they haven't. Islamic people have not had their second coming of God yet, and so there's no reason for them to stop fighting and keep this religious war going.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if that's true.
I mean, there's
interesting fact that's kind of relatable.
There's probably definitely. I mean, there's definitely people that believe that. I don't. I believe Jesus was the second coming, but definitely someone would tell you that I mean, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not a great authority on Muslim religion.
Yeah.
And I respect anyone that is Islamic. I'm never gonna bash anyone for what their beliefs are.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. While I'm saying it, I'm never gonna bash anyone for their sexual orientation, beliefs, or ethnicity.
Sounds like he's about to say something controversial. Hey guys, I love gay people, but.
Well,
that's where he's getting at.
we were
it's just
saying we didn't want to get political, then immediately pivoted to religion.
Well, I don't think religion should be in politics, Mitchell.
I mean,
You're
agreed.
wrong. I'm just kidding. I'm just yelling.
But anyways, where I was going with that Muslim comment is I'm a Christian, so I'm actively choosing not to be Hindu, Muslim.
Yeah.
It's my religion, and they believe they're still waiting on the second coming. And that is what it is. So you're kind of right there. I mean, Or you're
Or-
completely right there. I don't
the
know.
The person I'm parroting is right. That's not my belief. I'm just saying that's what I've heard.
Yeah. And I'm never going to bash anyone for their beliefs. Like I don't think I'm called to do that
Yeah.
at all. Like I think I'm called to be like my religion is I think I'm called to be a faithful follower of Jesus, and should someone want to learn more about Christianity, I think it's my duty to tell them more about it, but not to convert them or anything like that. I think it's my job to camera's gone.
Uh-oh. Camera's gone. Looks like we're finishing without camera. It's okay. We've already gone
Rip.
like 55 minutes.
Yeah, so
Sounds
we're about
good.
gone. But anyways, I think it's my duty to not like bash people for their religion or anything like that, which I think differs from like what a lot of people think Christianity is, because there's a lot of Christians that take conversion out of context, where Jesus would tell you probably converting someone from another religion or convincing someone that Christianity is the way is like one of the most delicate things on earth, right? Like convincing someone that all of their moral standards, their moral compass is off right now and you need to realign it. That is so delicate, and I don't think a human being can do that. So I genuinely believe that only like Jesus or God could do that in the heart of whoever I'm talking to. And that's what I believe. I think I'm just a conduit. I don't think I'm converting anybody.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I feel like Christianity and church and everything can be a very powerful thing to build up communities. Like in history, it's been a
Absolutely.
thing that's, for better or worse, driven like society to grow. Like the U.S. is pretty much based off Puritan ideals still in a lot of senses. A lot of inspirations from those, and it's like it is an insane ability to like drive humans to be together, have like one goal, and be a part of something bigger than themselves, which is a very profound thing, you know. And I think
Absolutely.
when used and when it's done in the right way, I think it's a very positive thing, you know. Like a good Christian person, someone who does just want to build up and love each other's neighbor, or love thy neighbor, then it's a really positive thing.
But like
Yeah.
everything, there are certainly a lot of very
yeah.
prominent, very evil people who are
Absolutely.
under the guise of Christianity. Like those mega church owners, like
Yeah.
I doubt any of them are actually good people. And
Sure,
I'll
sure.
go off
Joel
saying that's a
Osteen.
me thing. Joel Osteen, fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Guy who, you know his name? The goblin-looking man.
Oh no! Oh, the real
Owner
yeah.
of Brownsbridge Church. Those ones probably
Louis Giglio.
probably a fucking asshole. They make millions of dollars off of religion,
Well,
which is not.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, it's
Yeah, I
easier for
guarantee
a
it
camel
won't.
to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to make it into heaven.
Okay, well, that makes
Wait, hold on. What?
That's scripture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Camel
An
to
Omar
pass
is
through a
1/10 of an
needle.
Ipa. We know that.
Well, basically, that's a teaching of Jesus, that it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle, which is impossible, right, than a rich man to make it into heaven.
But
Because a rich man who's like,
He had to have exploited many.
What about the fire
Yeah.
sales back in the day? You know, this is too much. We don't have enough time to continue talking about that.
Inflatable tube, man. Wacky.
To end this episode, intern, what's your favorite Bible verse? Yeah, we'll give him a few seconds. I'm
Mine
gonna
is-
do the last ad read. Oh, do you have one?
I am Alpha and Omega, beginning and end.
Okay.
my favorite Bible verse is in Romans, and it's all have sinned and fall short of God's glory.
Okay. John 3:16.
Stone Cold.
That's mine.
Mine's Stone Cold. Austin 3:16
Stone
just said,
Stone Cold Steve.
Stone Cold just whooped your ass. And that's the bottom line.
And we are, of course, brought to you by the mixtape Sonntagsleere 342 Life, the Universe, and Everything. It's a fantastic mixtape. You get on over and listen to some
It kind of has to do with this episode today. a little
It
bit.
does. Like, surprisingly, that's the ad reads match up with the topics, and it's also just fantastic music. Get over to Mixcloud.com and Spotify.com and listen to this fantastic mixtape. And make sure to like and share this podcast. Share the videos on Reddit. Help the channel grow. And, you know, I'm going to keep talking out my ass until the intern gives us his favorite Bible
I just
verse.
want to give one more shout out to all those protesters out there that are fighting for what they
Amen.
believe in. And I hope you all
Amen.
stay safe.
We stand with you. We
stand
can promise that.
Absolutely, we do.
How do you guys feel about the term shouts out? Like, shouts out to this guy?
I think it's
alright.
just another way to say shout
I
out.
think it's annoying, personally.
Yeah.
I don't find
I knew
that.
you would think it was annoying.
All right, intern, what's your favorite Bible verse?
You got it right. It was Exodus 16:36. An omer is 1/10 of an ephah.
And what-
I don't know why that's in there, but it's important for your salvation.
all right. And we will see you on the next one.
We
Oh,
love you.
one more shout out.
okay.
If you're ever in the North Atlanta area and looking for a good place to buy beer or liquor,
Oh, yeah.
check out the Coal Mountain Package
Coal Mountain
Store.
Package Shop. They're great people and great beer.
Absolutely.
Thank
they
you
are.
for tuning to this episode. We'll see you on the next one.
Absolutely. Sorry about all this.
You.